Hello, and welcome to this episode of Retro Game Living Room. Today we're going to be doing a review of a game you probably haven't heard of before. This is Overdrive for the Etch-A-Sketch Animator 2000 by Ohio Arts. Yes, the company that made the classic Etch-A-Sketch that you used to play with and draw things on in preschool, kindergarten, at home, on road trips, wherever. We're going to unbox the console and we're going to play the game, so stick around. In 1988, Ohio Arts decided that it was going to step up its membership in the computer revolution. In 1986, it had released Etch-A-Sketch Animator, an electronic version of the Etch-A-Sketch. But this is Etch-A-Sketch Animator 2000, which means it's awesome and futuristic. Let's start out this episode by taking a closer look at what's inside the box. The Etch-A-Sketch Animator 2000 features powerful computer memory. Let's take a look at this sentence here. Portable drawing animation game computer. That's a definition of the Etch-A-Sketch Animator. Look at this car just like totally coming off the screen here. That's so Back to the Future. It's ridiculous. I guess the full name of this would be Etch-A-Sketch Animator 2000 Powerful Computer Memory Family Entertainment System. Dun dun dun. One thing I like about this is we can see how much someone paid, how much this was originally retailed for. So it's originally $140, but then it was red tag specialed to $50. So someone at one point somewhere paid $50 for this amazing piece of technology. We can get a look at the top of the box here. See what's on the bottom. Not a whole lot to see there. We see on the side it has the same kind of marketing language that it has on the front. Let's take a look at the back, where the back we see some cool stuff. So the back actually gives us a better view of what's going to be in the box here. It shows you it comes with this optional memory cartridge. So we'll talk about that as we go.
No, you won't, because I forgot to. It's just a sold separately memory cartridge to help save animations.
So it has a cartridge slot. It has an AC adapter, which we're not going to use today. Several screen functions. A lot of this stuff is for animating, because this is a game review channel, and we're going to be reviewing a game for it. We're not going to get into the animation stuff. But look, it has a touchpad and a stylus, and we're going to be talking about that a lot today. Let's go ahead and open up the box. One thing I really like about the packaging is the system is encased in a really nice fitting styrofoam casing, which if you watch this channel, you know I dig styrofoam packaging, and I absolutely loathe or hate like the kind that is like vacuum plastic junk or some really flimsy cardboard. Here's the console itself. So it's kind of large. It's not really a portable console. This is definitely a tabletop console. As we can see, the Animator 2000 is kind of big. For comparison, here is the 1989 Game Boy, which would come out the very next year for size. So it's about, I'll say a little more than 2 Game Boys from top to bottom. And it's about 1, 2, 3 Game Boys wide. So in Game Boys, this is at least 6 square Game Boy units. So what makes this a tabletop as opposed to a handheld? Well, a handheld console like your Game Boy is designed to be played by being held and suspended in, between your two hands. That's a handheld console. A tabletop console like the Animator, is designed to sit on a lap or a tabletop while you play, hence tabletop console. So, what are some other tabletop consoles, you might be asking? Well, I'll tell you. So, for example, these 1980s Coleco miniature arcades are tabletop because you're not supposed to play it like this. It's designed to sit and be played like this. See? The GCE Vectrex, one of my very favorites, and the system that made my girlfriend fall in love with me, is a tabletop console. See, tabletops have portability. Technically, the Vectrex is sort of portable. See, it's got a handle. It has its own screen. You can carry it to your buddy's house. Now, it's not super practical, and, you know, like, doesn't have batteries or anything. You just have to plug it in, but it's still pretty awesome that it's got a deal of portability. Another really tabletop console that was pretending to be a handheld is this glorious bastard, which of course is the Nintendo Virtual Boy, which isn't actually portable because you have to sit on a table. It's a tabletop console, everybody. This is a tabletop console, the very definition of one. So, the Animator 2000 is a 1988 tabletop console. We're going to take a look at the actual console itself now. So there's a lot of buttons here, but these are for animation. As we're going to be playing the video game only, we only have to worry about the enter button and the touchpad. If we take a look at the instruction manual, which says easy step-by-step instructions, you can see that it's full of animations that you can make, like a guy kicking a football, the world rotating, some fish, etc., 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 where you can make these complex animations. It's actually really difficult, and I tried it a few times, but this is much better as a game system, I promise you. So in order to play the game, we're going to have to look on the back here, and we see this stylus, which is branded Etch-A-Sketch Animator 2000. Even though this contains a spot for a power supply, we're going to play it today on batteries because this is really portability is a big part of this console's attraction. So it has spots for 6 AA batteries, which means it's time for the battery bag. So we're going to get 6 AA's in here, and the next thing you're going to see is me actually playing this machine. The game we're playing today is Overdrive, a road racing game. If you didn't know that, it's printed right on there for you. Cartridge slot is around the side here. One interesting thing about the games is instead of the game having the board stick out, the board is actually in the cartridge slot and the cartridge connects into it. So let's go ahead and turn this guy on. Just hit the on-off button and Overdrive begins. With the game system on, a press of the enter button starts the game. Now it says to pick a skill and press enter. So this is really cool. In order to pick a skill level, I move left and right at the top of the touchpad with the stylus. To pick a level, I move left and right at the bottom of the touchpad with the stylus. So let's go ahead and start with the first level. Press enter. And here's our car. I haven't played this in a little while. It's actually a pretty good game. I'm moving the stylus left and right to steer, but in order to go faster, I move the stylus up toward the top of the touchpad. And the brake, I move the stylus back down. We see in the background, now we see some mountains. These sideways H's over here that look kind of like tanks are how many guys I have left. Those are how many cars I have. Now look, we can see in the distance a hot air balloon. This is a really simple checkpoint game. So you just have to survive the laps and get your points. See, now hitting that car, so I need to not hit that car. Let's see what happens though if I plow into a car. Let's try that. Here we go. Here's a car. Kabam! Nailed it. Whoa! Don't mind the camera woman's laughter. And I win the race. We're going to try again on a different track, just so you can see what variety the game has. Let's take level 2 for a ride. Yeah, I'll take this for a spin. Alright, here we go. Off the rails. Come on. Okay, I'm going to dodge this car. So in the background here, we see some mountains and we got some boats back there. Here we see some palm trees. So what's cool about this game is that for 1988, I think it actually looks pretty cool, especially given that this is a kind of dot matrix thing going on. This is still pre-Game Boy era. Now the sense of speed isn't fantastic, but I think that the driving mechanic is actually really fun. So Nintendo DS is famous for the stylus gameplay. And this is obviously way before that, and based on just this one game, I think it's way freaking better. I mean, honestly. This is really fun. And there isn't any other type of control. There isn't the option for a D-pad or action buttons in this game. This is all games that are designed to work with the stylus. There's only 3 games released for this system. A helicopter game and a putt-putt game called Putts Nuts Golf. Helicopter game is called Flyby. And these games are extremely rare. I picked up this Overdrive game for $10. And I picked up the system for I don't even remember how much on eBay. But when I found Overdrive, it was the only time I had ever seen an Animator 2000 game. I've never seen one since, and it was an opening bid of $10, and since no one else appears to know that this is a game system, I was the only one who bid on it, and I won the auction. Alright, so this is doing pretty good here, but what I want to do is see another cool explosion. Let's get this guy. Yeah, carnage with a car. Car carnage. Car Armageddon. That's when I did that game. And I win. Let's see what it says about me today. It says I'm a slowpoke, which I'm okay with because I won, baby. Alright, we got one more. We got one more lap to try. And let's turn our skill up to max. Alright, this one's a city background, so that's cool. So let's find out what the difference between the skill is. I think it's just like there's a lot more traffic on the road, which is actually a lot more fun than playing on a moderate skill level. Oh yeah, you blow up easier, I think, too. That's right. More traffic is still more fun. See, this is a tight situation. Whew, to the right. Now to the left. Back to the left. And it's really cool that you can actually see the other cars coming, even though they're just kind of like small dots in the background. Anything that's going to be in the middle of your lane is going to be eventually a car. And I think that's enough. So I'm going to stop playing right here. We've seen all the levels. We've seen some explosions. Overall, Overdrive is a pretty cool game, but what impresses me most is how well the stylus functionality works with this game system. It's almost like it was designed for it, huh? But no, it's really good. I really wish I can play the Flyby-Copter game, and I really wish I can play the Putts Nuts Golf game, because as good as this is, I can't wait to find out how good the other ones are. So I'm actively looking for them. This is definitely a video game system that you're going to want to be a collector in order to pick up, because finding cartridges so far has been almost impossible to me. My assumption is they're pretty rare out there. And I have no idea how much they're even really worth. Maybe $10 is right because no one's looking for them. But if 100 people start looking for them, maybe they're worth $100. Don't know. I've never even seen the packaging to one of these. And it's even difficult to find pictures of this merchandise on the internet. You can still use the console even if you don't have one of the games for it. But you can only do it for the animator stuff. And I'll tell you what, the menus are difficult, and it's challenging, and it's much harder than modern like PC or even phone software today if you're Android or iOS. So I strongly don't recommend it as an animation device. As a video game system for 1988, this is awesome, and it's a shame that it was forgotten. So play one if you can, and I'll see you next time on a Retro Game Living Room. I'm going to bring you something else crazy, I promise.